views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hola everyone, welcome to Open BxRx Remote, brought to you from my living workspace, Chowry Executive Suite. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche every Friday. Here's what's coming up in today's show. Leading things off, we'll be joined by Boricua College President, Dr. Victor Alicea, to discuss the different ways the institution is strengthening the Latino community through education. After that, we'll hear about We Still Here, Nos Tenemos, a documentary showcasing the post-recovery efforts of Hurricane Maria, led by the youth in Puerto Rico. Then we'll learn all about the Lehman Center for the Performing Arts star-studded lineup for their reopening and new season. Later on in the show, Bobby C brings us an up-to-date with the latest headlines in the world of sports. And lastly, this week's Open Artist Spotlight shines on Venezuelan vibraphonist and percussionist Juan Villalobos, who will perform for us at the end of the show. So sit back y prepárate. All this and more is headed away, because now we are officially open. Welcome to Open. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche for the next hour. And we continue to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, always inviting you to get social with us online. That is, tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BronxNet TV or like us on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. And of course, while you're there, don't forget, follow moi on Twitter, FB, Instagram, Insta Stories, and LinkedIn at Rhina Valentin. So Boricua College, the four-year bilingual institution, has been serving the Puerto Rican and Latino community since the early 70s. Through its educational programs, Boricua College focuses on issues impacting minorities and prepares students for effective community leadership. And joining us to share more, we welcome Boricua College President and Founder, Dr. Victor G. Alicea. Hello, Dr. Alicea. Thank you for being here with us today.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Right now, I want to say hello to the over 15,000 graduates of Boricua College that are floating all over the universe, and to a lot of other folks who have heard and know about Boricua College since 1974, when we were founded in the Williamsburg section of Brooklyn, which is known to be the first community of the Puerto Rican community here in New York City. I know I grew up in El Barrio, and so I'm a little jealous that Williamsburg is actually the beginning of the Puerto Rican communities in New York City, but the most famous one, I always say, is El Barrio. But I am proud to have been a part of the creation of this college, and I say I am. People say I'm the founder, but you can't found a place, any place of consequence, without the participation of a lot of other people. And everyone who has passed by Boricua, whether you were a student or a faculty member or a staff member, I used to always say to them, you're here to make a contribution, you see, to the creation of a college. And Boricua is an institution that's still in development. We always consider ourselves in development, even though we're almost 50 years old.
Well, congratulations on that. That has been a huge accomplishment, even to sustain yourself all these years as a private college, providing liberal arts as your primary topic and subject. And I also understand that you're really you're a master, I would say, of philosophy. I was going to mix psychology together with philosophy because I know both those topics are dear to you, and I know they're the driving force behind the way you operate with everything you have put your hands on.
Yeah, there are. And you say that. I think it's very important to know that people talk about education when you're in college, but sometimes instead of preparing to be an educator, one should prepare oneself to be a learner. And I always said, growing up and going through the public school system in New York City and graduating from Columbia University with various degrees and so forth, that it was important to develop an educational system that was based on learning theory and not on education theory. Education theory traditionally has been top down to the learner, sort of like a feeding you, but learning theory has to do with a consideration of how people learn, and that educational practice should be based on how people learn, not how they should be educated. And that's a very important principle that helped us to become Boricua College, where we give individualized instruction, one student in a class, 10 students in a class, and we use a series of systems for educating people that is very different and non-traditional. And every one of the now over 15,000 graduates of Boricua College can attest to the fact that their experience was very different than they expected from a traditional college. And we've done that. But Boricua College, in addition to being an educational institution using non-traditional approaches to education, we must remember that, in my view, education is a political instrument. And that is something that's very central to what we did at Boricua College. We trained our students to be advocates and community leaders. And we wanted them not just to get a degree, but to go back into their communities and provide leadership. And that's why I say that education is political. First and foremost, education is political. And that was an important principle of our education and the educational model that we created at Boricua College.
Is that also one that's located in 3 congressional Latino districts?
Yes, it is located in the 3 congressional districts with Latino leaders, congresspersons here, Adriano Espaillat in Upper Manhattan, Nida Velasquez in Brooklyn, and Richie Torres here in the South Bronx. But we have been connected to all the prior Congress people in these districts, where we have located our 3 campus centers, one in Upper Manhattan, here in the South Bronx, which is the newest one, and what we call the Mother College in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. And by the way, we're a small college. This is not a huge college with huge numbers. We wanted it to be a small college, small liberal arts college in New York City. And that's exactly what we have remained. We basically end up with about between 800 and 1,000 students. And that's our maximum. That's how we have been from the very beginning.
And
but,
so,
yes, go ahead.
What are the qualifications, right? Because you're also a bilingual school. So is this, when you say bilingual, is it in both directions?
No. We at the very beginning in 1974, we began talking about bilingualism, and we decided that bilingual education needed to take a fresh look at itself. And we decided that, and that was, by the way, in conversations with those of us who came to this country not knowing any English, as I did. I came here when I was 7 years old. I didn't know any English, but I learned English through the basic traditional school, learning English through schools. And so the idea of bilingualism at Boricua College became very different from what people call bilingual education. Bilingual education at Boricua College was embedded in the work of the faculty. It is the faculty who is bilingual. And that makes it possible for the student, whether they're strong in English, strong in Spanish, or vice versa, or weak in both, to communicate with their faculty member. And since we give individualized instruction in small classes of 10 students, it enables a full-time faculty member to facilitate the learning of a student, whether the student is strong in English or strong in Spanish. So bilingual education at Boricua College is not a goal. It is actually part of the method of instruction because it is embedded in all my faculty. And my faculty all are bilingual, whether they are African-American or Asian or Anglo or Puerto Ricans or Dominicans, or whatever the nationality of my faculty, everyone is capable of managing English and Spanish. But that's not our primary goal. The goal of Boricua College's educational system is not to make anyone bilingual. Language is not the basis of that. What we do at Boricua is we train your minds. And that is the purpose of Boricua College, to train your mind, you see. And when you train someone's mind and they have the intellectual skills, you see, to manage it, they can manage in any language, because intellectual processes, mental processes are the same whether you speak Chinese or English or Spanish or what have you. So when you come to Boricua, we come to train your mind. And that is the main purpose of Boricua's educational model.
It's a wonderful method. So, and thank you for bringing it to our viewers, because at the end of the day, that is how we all learn as humanity, right? Mm-hmm. Within humanity, and being human beings, right?
Yes.
Yes. So, once again, thank you for your time, Dr. Victor G. Alicea, who continues to remain the college president and founder of Boricua College, dropping a lot of gold nuggets with
Yes. I want to shout out to my graduates. Hey, I signed your diplomas. You know, I'm glad that I did that, and be good to yourselves.
Oh, thank you. That's so wonderful. Oh gosh, you guys. Anywho, as he mentioned, it's a private college, and it caters to the intellectual thought processing. So, interested in enrolling in classes at Boricua College, you can visit boricuacollege.edu. All right, we have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll learn about a post-Hurricane Maria documentary focusing on community, youth leadership, and justice in Puerto Rico. Don't go anywhere. Hey everyone, welcome back to Open. So it's been 4 years since Hurricane Maria hit the island of Puerto Rico, and the island is still recovering. Our next guest captured the post-recovery efforts led by the island's youth in a new documentary film, We Still Here, Nos Tenemos, which is centered around young leaders and their determination to rebuild communities in Puerto Rico. Let's take a sneak peek of We Still Here, Nos Tenemos.
Pregunté a ti alguna vez, ¿qué felicidad? Dice, no, felicidad es compartir.
Eso es así.
Con los que no tienen.
No es decir yo, es decir somos. Y aquí estamos.
A pesar del sufrimiento y tanto detrimento, de pie nos mantenemos. A pesar de la distancia, con perseverancia nos abrazaremos, porque nos tenemos. Y nos daremos la mano, mi hermano, y juntos venceremos, porque nos tenemos. Nos tenemos ya, nos tenemos aquí, nos tenemos allá.
Yo sentí, y yo sé que muchos sintieron, que desde ese día volvimos a nacer.
Es algo que siempre me ha gustado hacer, ser líder, ayudar. Esto soy yo.
Joining us to tell us more about the documentary We Still Here, Nos Tenemos, please welcome co-producer Kahlil Jacobs-Fantauzzi and director Eli Jacobs-Fantauzzi. Hello and welcome, gentlemen. I got the hermanos together finally.
We're excited to be here.
Pleasure.
Wow, you guys, you gentlemen are doing really, really great work, and congratulations on another documentary making its debut. The last time we had you on, Eli, it was for Bacoso, and now we have this, and I let's just start by discussing how you choose your topics. Like what really drives you and in your choice of messaging.
So I would say that oftentimes I'm not choosing a topic, the topic chooses me. What happened in this film is I was in California and the hurricane happened. We have family on the island. We wanted to bring support. We knew that money and goods wasn't getting to the island. So Kahlil, the family, the community came together and we took donations. I showed up at the airport with 36 boxes and went back to the island. And after my week was up giving out donations, I felt like I had more to do. And so I didn't leave. I called my brother, said, I'm staying on the island, moved me out of my apartment. And it's been 4 years now that I've been living here in Puerto Rico and working with the people on a just recovery. And so this is just the story of our life. It's not like, oh, I came here to make a film. This is what happened naturally.
It's so admirable. It really, really, just the way you operate in general, Eli, with the integrity that you guys really convey. It does not go unnoticed. We'll just say that. But I want to talk to Kahlil a little bit because we never get to talk to him. He's always behind the scenes. I mean, you're both behind the scenes, but as the producer, he's always the one making sure that everything is in order. So it's such an honor to have you here today, Kahlil.
I'm so excited to be here, and I appreciate the work you do, and this is a great opportunity to share this with nuestra comunidad.
Yeah, like a producer. And so, Eli, we're going to go back to the creative process and your choice of topics, right? You already said, as far as the topics, they choose you, but then you have a certain angle in which you go. And what really, really, I guess, captivates me in this particular storytelling is that it's really youth-led, which is, it's their future. And so it's really refreshing to see them take this initiative and that you have it on record. So let's talk about what that process was like.
Yeah, I think that for us, oh, go ahead. brotherly love.
So a lot of it happened unfolding in front of the camera. Like I said, the leaders of the community didn't say, hey, I want to be a leader. They just stepped up to the plate in a time of need. And I think when we talk about a just recovery for Puerto Rico, it parallels what justice looks like in storytelling, right? We're not out here mining stories or extracting stories. We're telling stories with the community. And the youth of the community that I taught video production and photography helped actually make this film. And so this is a collaborative effort through and through.
That's nice. That's good. So there's that component of also passing it forward with the technical development as well. That's awesome. And so Kahlil, I know that the film itself premiered at the Urban World Festival. So where do you see this going? I mean, I think you guys produce such awesome films, and I know you tour them in film festivals, but I just wonder, like, when your films are going to be on Netflix so that they're, accessible for the world.
You're speaking to the future. Hopefully that's what's next for us. I think that, before we presented this film to the world, we really wanted to get the blessing of the people in the film. So the first screening, of course, was in Comerío, where we had the people that were in the film, the fathers, the young kids, the abuelitas, everybody come together and give us their blessing. And then we showed it in Puerto Rico, and then we were able to show it in New York. So it's really kind of like growing. And I think that the potential and the opportunity for the world to see it is going to keep on growing. And so that everybody gets to see this and gets inspired by this story.
And so I just want to talk about Eli's just redirection of relocating to Puerto Rico. And yes, we have it now on film, and you've been documenting it, and you've been contributing in so many different forms. But what's that been like for you to actually go back to the motherland?
Oh, it's been life-changing, a life-changing experience. Growing up as the Puerto Rican diaspora is always a place that we called home and visited family, but felt kind of estranged. And for me, it was a moment to feel it embraced like I've never felt before. And anytime I drive up to Comerío, I get these hugs from the kids and the people in the community, and it really made me feel at home like no other time. And so people are like, oh, you've given so much to the island. And my response is always, I've received so much more. It's such an honor and a blessing to be here and to be able to share these stories.
Yeah, you guys, and how's that like working as brothers in different locations? Because you continue to be the Fantauzzi brothers, right? Fist Up Productions, you're working from different locations. What's that been like for you, Kahlil?
It's made it so that I come to the island a lot more often. It's been a dream. So I've been coming a lot more to the island. I think that, the proximity to New York and Puerto Rico really makes it an easy journey. And it's also kind of really helped me feel like more connected to the island And I've seen it here in Puerto Rico that there are more people from the diaspora returning, finding out ways that they can give back to the island, finding a kind of calling. And so it's a movement, and it's amazing to be a part of it and to witness it.
And Eli, we're going to close with you. Your thoughts on that in your relationship, like your newfound relation. I mean, you travel a lot, so I guess I'm assuming that that's just your home base now. But I just wonder what that's like to, after being in New York for so many years, now ending up back, you know, in Puerto Rico, probably somewhere that you used to just go visit in the summer, and now it's your home.
Yeah, it's a feeling like no other. I think Anthony Ramos in the film says it great. He says, we all have a role to play. And if we do that, if you play your part and I play our part, we're going to make this world a better place. We're going to make Puerto Rico a better place. And we deserve it. I think that's really important. Being a colony for so long, sometimes we feel like we deserve less. But these kids in the community, when they felt their power, when they knew, okay, this wasn't right, they were ready to step up to the plate, go to Congress, protest at DC, and change the look and feel of their community and fight for what they deserve. And I think we can all do that. We can all step into our power.
Well, if there's one thing that is very apparent is the resiliency, and then there's the next generation that we're talking about, right? They're so well versed, they're so educated, they're clear about what their future is like, and it's really just, it's hopeful. I mean, the film, I mean, I know that we had to like basically revisit the destruction of Hurricane Maria, but the message within it, right? Just in what I've seen, it really leaves you with the sense of hope of what the future looks like. And so I'm just caught up in the fact that you both have been able to sustain your missions in separate locations, still working together as brothers, and still providing this message of hope through authentic voices, really is what it boils down to.
They inspire us. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. I said that the youth really inspire us. And I think that that's the power of the film. Sometimes when we're talking about young people, we're talking about we're thinking about people in their late 20s or their 30s. These, cuando pasó eso, they were 19, 20 years old. And they really are the voice and have uplifted their community in a way that will transfer their lives as well as the communities that they live in.
All right, and this is the last thing I guess we can, because they're wrapping me, because I keep going on and on and on, because I'm just fascinated with your work. I have the utmost admiration for you both, and Eli, again, just going back to the integrity that you exercise and continue to model in your work. Just what do you want people to leave with when they see this film?
It's really important that one, we don't try, as filmmakers, we don't try to speak for communities. We tell stories with communities. And two, that the youth are the truth. The youth have power to continue to tell stories. Without that voice included, we're missing an important aspect. And so let's turn the cameras to them. Let's give them platforms to be able to speak their mind, and we can do this together. I know it's 4 years after Hurricane Maria, but I don't think this story has ever been told, and it's an honor to be here. Thank you so much for the platform. Open is always open for the community, and we are so honored to be here. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, the Fantauzzi brothers, speaking it truthfully, right? Youth is the truth, and here's to leaving things better than we found them, mi gente. All right, once again, for more, We Still Here, Nos Tenemos, please visit WeStillHerePR.com. All right, we have to take a quick break, but when we return, we're going to hear all about Lehman Center for the Performing Arts, star-studded lineup for their reopening and season. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Lehman Center for the Performing Arts is back with a new season filled with a variety of top caliber performances, a very exciting comeback. And today we're going to discuss the $1.6 million public and nonprofit funding that helped reopen the theater and the star-studded lineup we're going to discuss. Joining us to tell us more, we welcome Lehman Center for Performing Arts Executive Director, Eva Bornstein. Hello, Eva.
Hello, Rita. It's absolutely amazing to talk to you again after a year and a half. What a wonderful, for me, it's a wonderful feeling.
I know, for me too. I'm so used to having you on as soon as the season kicked off, and it's almost like we took a little break from each other. Of course, without any control over it. But just with that being said, it's so lovely to see you, and I'm so happy to see that Lincoln
Center of the Bronx, Rina. Lincoln Center, this is what Borough President calls us.
Really?
Ruben Diaz Jr., yeah, he calls us Lincoln Center of the Bronx. So don't feel bad about it.
Okay, well, thank you for, for going with it. But you are Lehman Center for the Performing Arts, and we're always thrilled to have you on, and we're always excited about all the fine talent that you bring into the borough. And so, before we go into all of that, let's just talk a little bit about what this time period has done for the venue, because as we were discussing before getting on air, it's one thing to provide virtual performances, and it's another thing to actually be an executive director to a venue, right? Because it's not the same. It's not like you're presenting performers just to present performers. You're actually managing an entire space that just happened to be funded all this renovation money, and then you renovated it, and beautiful grand opening, and then COVID came, and then boom, shut it down.
So what happened was in March, after Grupo Nietzsche, we got shut down, and everybody was shattered. All the Broadway performers, ourselves, every single venue in the city went dark. So there was a coalition that was formed, NYC and Company formed a special coalition of all the leaders in the industry. And we were trying to come up with ideas how to reopen the centers, how to create a future for the center, how to stay in touch, so that we as venues in New York City, and I represent Bronx, I was on a coalition together with Lincoln Center, Carnegie Hall, and all others, representing Bronx. And I was very proud to be, talking to father of Mr. Miranda and talk to really important people in the city. I was so proud to represent us. And I was so proud that they included Bronx in this process. So basically every week we were meeting, and we were keeping abreast all of the venues that joined, the coalition or represented a venue, to forward the information, to everybody. We also formed several other organizations. There was an organization called NIVA, Independent Venues Organization, that did the same thing. We all kept each other informed how we're going to reopen. And we put NIVA, that organization, together with other organizations, put tremendous pressure on our politicians to include us in their planning of reopening. So after the pressure was made on politicians, a new federal grant became available to all the venues to apply across the country. And Senator Schumer was instrumental in passing it through the House. So this grant was called SVOG, Save the Venues Grant. And unfortunately, it was a brand new grant. So they were working on this grant for months, okay? And there were 48 requirements to be qualified.
Right.
These 48 requirements kept changing. So it was a full-time job for someone like me to follow every rule, every change, because when you're writing a grant, it has to be very precise or you disqualified. So I devoted entirely, day and night, my time to stay in touch with the coalition to be sure that we understand the changes they're making. That grant finally became available, and every venue in the country started applying. And it's not just venue, it was presenters, it was clubs, by venue meaning not large performing arts center, everybody in the country.
Got it.
So it was a very, very competitive grant. So.
And you got it?
I got it. And listen, Rhina, honestly, I had no idea I got it because the competition was so stiff that I thought, my God, this is going to be a miracle.
Oh my gosh. And the only reason I'm trying to get to the actual payoff of it, right? Aside from receiving the funding, is because you reopened with this amazing lineup that we must mention before we leave, before this segment ends. And I don't want to just, disregard all of the work that you've put into it and your commitment and your dedication. I mean, you have done some amazing work thus far for Lehman Center for the Performing Arts, that it's really wonderful to know that, you're in it to win it. You're in it to win it, and you want it.
Well, I tell you, I have such determination for Lehman Center because I have such a passion for Lehman Center, that when I was sitting filling out that paperwork and I was exhausted, I thought it's for the center. So one day, we're going to bring music, dance, and theater back to the community. And that's what kept me going, it's that passion.
And you did. You opened up with Andy Montañez and the Mambo Legends, with Patty Padilla, and now coming up we have Una Noche con el Merengue, right? Con Alex Bueno, Miriam Cruz, and Bonnie Cepeda. And then I know you've got this Brazilian All-Stars, which sounds really intriguing too. And of course, La India. I mean, you just came in with all the heavy hitters.
And I did that in a spare time, because my whole time was spent on writing grants. So and looking after my 2 dogs that you're hearing right now. I'm still working from home, and hearing my 2 Latino dogs. They're Havanese. They bred in Cuba. So like I said, I have a real passion for Latinos, and I have a real passion for Lehman Center and for my dogs. They are my passion too. And for you, Rhina, and for Rhina. I'm a very passionate person. Something that we have in common is that we Latinas and Polish have the same passion for things, and we get things done.
Exactly. Well, they became your co-workers for almost 2 years, so they get a voice in the matter as well.
Yes. And they kept me sane, through this whole difficult process. But, I want to mention to your viewers that we want to make a special gift to our audience, because our patrons have been in the Bronx, have been so amazing, because, we stopped. We didn't have access to the box office. We weren't allowed on Lehman College campus. And there was no way we could give them refunds because our tickets were computerized, and we had no access to them. And they did not make big deal about it. And I know that our people in the Bronx are not wealthy, so I'm sure that the money they spent on their tickets meant something to them.
Right.
But so we are offering the Brazilian orchestra to the community free of charge, okay?
Nice.
Yeah, the tickets are totally free. You're welcome to come for free. This is our celebration, our gift to our community. We love you, we give back, It's a little bit of the money we got from SVOG, because as you know, running Performing Arts Center is very expensive. Our annual budget is 3 million, so we're only halfway there, but at least we're halfway there, and we're not starting from zero. So I would like to welcome my community to that particular concert, because it's free of charge, and it's our gift to you.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. There you have it, viewers. Eva Bornstein, Executive Director of Lehman Center for the Performing Arts. She just offered free tickets for everybody to attend the Brazilian All-Stars, which is taking place on Sunday, October 10th at 4 p.m. It's an afternoon, and we're going to wrap up really because the house is getting noisy over there. Rather, the office, the virtual office. But you guys, for more info on Lehman Center for the Performing Arts and for tickets to see Una Noche en Merengue October 9th, featuring Miriam Cruz, Alex Bueno, and Bonnie Cepeda, you can visit lehmancenter.org. All right, don't go anywhere because these weekly sports roundup is coming up.
Cuba and Havana, my two Havanese, and my cell phone that rings nonstop, invite you all to Lehman Center for the Brazilian Orchestra. You can go on our website, www.lehmancenter.org, and get your free tickets. Love you. Come support us, because we need you.
Last time out, we spoke to the voice of Formula One, Crofty. Here's part 2 of that interview.
You talk about all of these great storylines, and I think the championship has truly long coveted a larger following here in the United States. Of course, a big market, and a successful American driver has been seen as potentially the key to that. Do you agree with that statement? Is it necessary to have that?
Yeah, I think it is. I really do. Look, American sports fans are very patriotic in their nature, and there is nothing wrong with that whatsoever. The chants of USA ringing out, when we see track and field at the Olympic Games, for instance, it's absolutely stupendous. I don't see anything wrong with the patriotism. I think it would be nice to see American fans rewarded for their patriotism and the investment that you make in Formula One. It is so much easier to watch Formula One and follow Formula One in Europe than it is, I'm sure, in America, where you might not travel much, Bobby, but I'm not sure your body knows what time zone it's in, given the hectic nature of this season. Haas F1 should be an American team. They're not an American team. They're based in Italy and in Banbury in the UK. They've got a Russian and they've got a German driving for them. They've got Russian money that's backing them now as well. They're not really the American team that I think American fans would like to get behind. And we hear noises about Michael Andretti possibly investing in Alfa Romeo and Alfa Romeo Sauber in the future. That to me would be a really good fit. It would be lovely to see the Andretti name attached to Sauber as well, 2 classic names within motorsport. As for American drivers, we've had this discussion. Who's out there that could make that transition right now? Not sure there is a USA driver, but there's certainly Pato O'Ward, I think, one for the future, who's attached to that McLaren program, who will get a test in December in that McLaren Formula One car to go and see exactly what he can do. And look, Pato's well known to fans of IndyCar and American motorsport fans. Obviously, hails from Mexico, so it's not that USA driver. But I think the likes of Pato should be on Formula One teams' radar, because he is an exceptional young driver. Let's see how he gets on that F1 test, because I think it'd be fascinating to see the results.
Yeah, been 6 years since Alexander Rossi, and of course a really long time since Mario Andretti won it all. I do think, Crofty, that Netflix has really helped the sport so much. Drive to Survive has been huge. I even think this new documentary, Schumacher, was outstanding. I wanted to get your thoughts on both.
I watched the Schumacher documentary just a few days ago. It's unbearably sad, isn't it? At the end, there's no other way to describe it. I thought the way the family opened up and talked about Michael was absolutely delightful. I hope they found some comfort in sharing their thoughts with a wider public. To see some of the footage, to go behind the scenes, just revealed more about a man that so dominated and so took this sport to new levels, and gave the likes of Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen new goals to try and achieve, and raise the bar considerably. It's a wonderful documentary, but it's just unbearably sad for the last 20 minutes for obvious reasons in that. But don't not watch it because I say it's unbearably sad. Do watch it because it's also quite joyous to see the love and the affection shine through throughout that documentary. I thought it was very well put together. As for Drive to Survive, it is bringing in new audiences around the world, and that's absolutely superb. I'll give you a little story. I went where are we now? Last time we were at COTA, so that had been 2019. I had the absolute delight to go to Houston for a couple of days, and I went to see the Houston Rockets play basketball. I am not a basketball fan. I am now, because I got courtside tickets as well, which was really cool. And someone said, "Do you want some courtside tickets?" And yes, I do. Thank you very much indeed. So as we were going down to courtside, I'm in a lift with the people I was with, and talking away, and the lift attendant's looking at me, and I kind of look back, and he's looking at me, and I look back, and kind of looked up because he was quite tall. Cause it's basketball, isn't it? Everyone's tall at basketball. And I said, "Did you used to play?" He went, yeah, I did. At college, but I wasn't good enough. Are you Crofty? I said, yeah, I am. Nice to meet you. And I shook hands, got out the lift. I said, "How did you recognize me?" "Oh, I'm a massive Formula One fan." I said, "Well, you are. You're very tall." He said, No. Recent convert as well. I watched Drive to Survive, and now I can't miss a single race. I said, "Well, that's brilliant. Do you want to talk about yesterday's race?" He went, No, because I've been working all weekend, and I actually don't know the results. So please don't tell me what happened. I'm going to go back after the game and watch it. I saw you don't want to know that Roman Grosjean came from the back of the grid to finish on the podium. Well, oh my God, no, he didn't, did he? I said, "No, I'm only joking. He's an ass." But we kind of had a chat, and he just explained that Drive to Survive was his first contact point with the sport of Formula One, and he wouldn't have discovered it without this documentary series, which is brilliant.
Crofty, in closing, future, we speak about the future. The future of F1, of course, only months away from new technical regulations. There are talks of even further changes in 2025, 2026. What do you see for the future of this sport?
Well, the engine's 25, 26. I think it's 2026 now, more likely with the engines. The MGUH will probably go. More emphasis on biofuels, as well as part of the sustainability. What I would say with that the fuel that is burnt on the track is about 0.7% of the carbon spend in Formula One. So any efforts that are going into reducing the reliance on burning carbon-based fuels needs to go hand in hand with efforts away from the track as well, if we're to achieve that carbon neutrality, which is so important. Don't just concentrate on the fuel, concentrate on other things that we're doing as well. Why are we going to Miami, coming back to Europe for 2 races, and then going to Canada, as is likely for next season? It's crisscrossing the Atlantic when you don't necessarily need to. Let's find another way to restructure the calendar and to cut down on some of the diesel or the kerosene in the case of planes that's being used. This year, for instance, we came back from the summer break. We went to Spa, and then we went 300 kilometers north to go to Holland, and then we went all the way south to go to Monza. Why didn't we start north and then just head our way down? That would have made more sense to me on that one, because you're not kind of going up to come back on yourself. But these are just little things that can be looked at. As much as you can admire these V6 hybrid engines, and they're an amazingly efficient engine, they cost an awful lot of money to develop. Honda have found that out, and we don't want to be reliant on Red Bull, Ferrari, Renault, Mercedes making the engines. We'd like to see VW and the Porsche Group come in. We'd like to see others, making engines in the future at a lower cost as well. The new regulations for next year, who knows what that's going to do to the racing and the pecking order and the grid. We haven't got a clue at the moment, and that's so exciting as well. It's rare you can say that in advance of a season. Some teams will be really confident that they found a good design. Other teams will be thinking, oh, we might be a bit on the back foot, but nobody will truly know until they get onto the track. And that, I think, coupled with some of the most incredible talent that we have on the grid, it just, to me, leaves Formula One in a really healthy position at the moment to set trends, to make changes for a healthier future to come. We will have, I'm sure we'll have some great racing in the years ahead. Together with that, the sustainability project that will hopefully drive technological change as well, away from the track, that we as fans and as people who just lead normal lives can all benefit from too. And with a bit of luck, get some decent entertainment on a Sunday afternoon, morning, evening, or whatever time in the world it is that you're watching your F1.
I'll be at the Circuit of the Americas, my friend, and hopefully we can meet at a bar, play some darts, and maybe even have some more F1 talk.
Hey, listen, there are round about 9 million bars to choose from in Austin. If we can't find one that matches all our requirements, we're in the wrong city.
Crofty, I appreciate you taking the time. I look forward to seeing you at COTA.
Anytime, Bobby C. You have a great day now.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Our last guest is a Venezuelan vibraphonist and percussionist who's known for combining his Afro-Venezuelan roots with the rhythm of jazz. He's performed at festivals throughout the world and with many great artists, including Sting, Arturo Faro, Paquito de Rivera, and many, many more. But for now, we're going to talk to him. Joining us to share more, we welcome vibraphonist and percussionist Juan Diego Villalobos. Hello and welcome.
Hello, Rhina. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's wonderful to have you via this boxed. How's it been for you being local after being such a world traveler and performing with all these great artists?
Well, it's been kind of like a backwards, I don't know how to say, like line of how to say it. It's like going to college, then start touring, and then coming back to college. It's something like that. So when I did all these tourings was because I was playing in Venezuela. I was part of something known as El Sistema, which was founded by Maestro Jose Antonio Abreu, and I was part of the symphony orchestra that was like, those were my beginnings as a vibraphonist and classical percussion player. And I had the opportunity to travel all around the world with the Teresa Carreño Youth Symphony Orchestra. So I graduated high school when I was probably 16 years old, and I moved out 5 hours away from my home to the capital, to the city of Caracas. And there I started traveling with them until I was like, and I started attending to Simón Bolívar Conservatory of Music located in Caracas as well. So I did kind of like a major, like a bachelor in classical percussion and in music theory and all of this. Then I quit and I came here to switch to jazz, and I'm now attending to Manhattan School of Music, finishing my 4 years of learning. So answering to your question, it's actually kind of cool, because it's like I just developed myself in an environment that was totally different to the things that I'm doing right now. The good thing about it is that what I'm doing right now is because of me. I'm not doing it with anyone else. It's just I'm doing my own music. I'm leading my own projects, and I'm gonna be honest, it's definitely a harder path to go through.
Well, yeah, because you're creating them on both sides, right? It's not just with the music, and it's not just with blending genres, right? Because you're blending genres. Now you have like your own flavor, your own style, but you also play different instruments, and on top of that, you're blending these different styles that don't, I mean, jazz kind of, I think, invites everything, right? But when I think of vibes, I automatically think of jazz, but I don't necessarily think of Afro-Venezuelan, like folkloric music, you know? So that's an interesting path.
Yeah. Well, I think about my music from Venezuela is actually really like it's a great deal related to Afro-American music. Remember that jazz was founded, jazz is just like a label that people put on it, but it's actually, jazz is like folk music from the United States of America, you know?
Right.
And that's basically it. Jazz was born out of, you know, people that came from Africa singing, chanting, and, you know, slaves and all of that. The same slaves that came from Africa, some part of them went to Venezuela and they went to the Caribbean. So, and we developed like our own sound. But at the end, I feel like it's almost the same, you know. So it's like
it's almost like speaking Spanish with different dialect. That right.
We can put it that way.
Right. So I do want to make sure that we mention that from everything we've been sharing, you've expanded into having your own quintet and having different groups, and that you were able to put a concert online, and that we're going to be able to share like a piece of it, at least one song. But I wanted to make sure we share that with our viewers before we run out of time, so that they understand that although we've all had to pivot, right? You have in some aspect expanded from the pivot.
Yeah. Exactly.
Even though you're not traveling the world, let's say.
Yeah. That's a nice way to put it, yeah.
Well, the thing is that you said it, right? I'm in listening to you mentioned, well, you know, I'm developing and I'm doing my own self-development is what you're saying, in the sense of like, yes, you're kind of like back in school, but in this process, now you already have the knowledge of this style, and you already know what it is to tour and work with a big group, and now you have your own. Now it's I guess the difference would be that you're a band leader now, right? And then there's that choice of, you know, do I play vibes today, or do I do percussion, or do I add percussion into the vibes, which is what you do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I do both now. Besides my quintet, Timba Vibes, which is another quintet more focused to the Latin jazz sound. I also belong to a group that is called Tambor y Caña, which they are based here in New York, and it's only like Afro-Venezuelan rhythms and chants. That's it. It's only percussion and chants, and that's it. And that's really important for me, because thanks to that, I've learned. I've got better playing the instruments. My sense of composition, of interpretation, changed because of the people that has taught me. You know, so before I went to study to Caracas and I went to the symphony orchestra and all of that, I just started that way. Like my dad is a percussion player, and he showed me like Afro stuff when I was really, really young. When I was like 2 years old. So that has been like my actual beginning, you know? Yeah,
well, it totally makes sense. I mean, that's how you ended up a vibist. I mean, hello.
Exactly. Definitely.
Bueno, it's been wonderful chatting with you. I know we're going to get a taste of your quintet. So once again, Juan Diego Villalobos, he's a vibraphonist and a percussionist. Don't go anywhere, you guys, because I'm telling you, you're going to really enjoy this online concert they put together. Well, we're only going to be able to give you a snippet of it, but his concert is available on Instagram, and I'll share those details after the performance. So don't go near it. We've got special vibe performance by Juan Diego Villalobos Quintet. welcome back here now to perform Antes que se vaya. Please welcome the Juan Diego Villalobos Quintet at Brave Sound. Hope you were vibing just as I was. To watch the full concert, go to Juan Diego Villalobos' IG account at Juan Diego Vibes. That is our show today, mi gente. Thanks to all our guests for coming through, and to you, our viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of the show, you can check out the recablecast tonight, 24 hours a day, at bronxnet.tv. I'm Rhina Valentin, and from all of us here at Open, may the universe provide peace, prosperity, y amor, y happy Latinx Heritage Month, mi gente. Adios.